your PIN travel agency and car rental services.
Truth, yeah. Talking about the truth.
This is Heather White Davis McDonald, and I'm inviting you to join me Tuesdays at 11:30 a.m. to 12 midday for Let's Reason. We will be reasoning on real life issues with real people. So join me and be blessed.
People of the world want to say the truth is done.
Good morning, Jamaica. Good morning to the Caribbean. Good morning to the world. You're listening to Spot On with Vernon Darby, coming to you live from Kingston, Jamaica, that beautiful country in the middle of the Caribbean. See what we say? We're little, but we tell our. This is the People's University, the People's Parliament, and the People's Program. Of course, this hour is sponsored by Spectrum Insurance Brokers, setting the industry standard, and Fosterage Group of Companies, located at 77 to 79 Malines Road, right here in Kingston, Jamaica. Stay with us for your spiritual, social, and intellectual needs. Stay with us because we support what is best for you. It's a people show where I listen to your concerns, and I will leave no stone unturned until your issues are addressed. This is the place to find the experts to help you. This is the place for exciting discussions. This is the place to make sure that your voice is heard. This is the place to be spot on. Remember that if you have issues in your communities or your district, then let me know. Let me just remind you of the number to call, 876-968-8117. That is 876-968-8117. And remember that if you have persons who are giving outstanding service in your communities, let me know about them. Also, if you've been to a government office or you've been to a private sector office and they have given you outstanding service, then definitely let me know. All right, let's see what's coming up today. Of course, we're going to start off with great music, and I take a look at some of your complaints. Then we'll have your health, your wealth. We'll have the Dr. Lillian Johnson from the cool hills of Manchester, right here in Mandeville. And then we're going to move on. After that, we will have Consumer Talk with Mr. Trevor Summers. And of course, we have and that will be sponsored by the National Solid Waste Management Authority. Jamaica's beauty is our duty. All right, on a Tuesday morning, time to get off to some great music so we can get things off in fine style. Spot on with Vernon Darby on a Tuesday morning. Oh, yes, you do.
You make me stronger.
Gracias, Jesús.
Yes, buenos días, ¿cómo están ustedes? Ajá. Kevin is saying a little Spanish
From
too.
Jamaica to the Caribbean, from Spain to Colombia, from Canada to the US.
My friends in Colombia.
You're my creator.
Oh, yeah.
Lord, you know my times.
Our friends in Venezuela, come on, we need to get our act together, Venezuela and Ghana. We need to sort that one out as soon as possible.
So I will seek you.
Oh, by the way, did you see the eclipse yesterday? I didn't see it. Those persons in the United States, they did. What a sight. Well, that is nature for you, the work of God. What an amazing thing. Can you imagine night in the middle of the day?
Help me now. You make me stronger. Oh, come on. Oh, say, you make me stronger. I lift my spirit. Lord, I'll take your hand.
All right, so we're going to get things going. And yes, it's a beautiful Tuesday morning right here in Jamaica. And thanks to those who are listening in Florida and New York and all over the world. You know, I put something out recently about the behavior. It's terrible, disgusting, the behavior of a driver. And these type of drivers, we really should not have them on the streets at all. Thanks to those who sent me information. And this time I'm going to let us just hear from Mr. Ralston Smith, the CEO for the Transport Authority. And we want to thank you very much, sir, for that quick response. We gather that driver has been removed from the system, and quite a few more need to be removed so that Jamaicans can travel in class and style. Let's hear Mr.
The
Ralston.
Transport Authority remains committed to ensuring order within the public passenger transportation sector. The authority views with serious concern a viral clip of a taxi driver hurling abusive and calumnious language at a passenger. As a consequence, our chief investigator convened a meeting with the owner and driver of said vehicle. At the end of the meeting, the owner discharged the services of the driver, recognizing his own role as an owner in providing decent and orderly public transportation. So we're very pleased that the driver was fired, and the Transport Authority continues to monitor the situation. We continue to urge the public to support the work of the Transport Authority, who have provided either visual or oral clips of these kinds of situations so that the Transport Authority can continue to treat with these matters in a serious way.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Smith. And that only tells you that when we work together and action will be taken. So, so let me thank those persons who sent in the information. And we just need to make sure that action is taken. And we have a kind of CEO who will definitely ensure that action is taken. And when it comes to on the roads, I'm going to say to them, to my friends, please do better on the roads. We have right there at coming into New Kingston, those bus drivers are just cut across, cut in. And let me see if I can recognize this one. PM2479. Yes, we are watching you. That driver you did this morning, it's very inappropriate.
Because remember, we have Kai Have.
I hear an echo there. Yes, so driver for that bus PM2479, and I'm making a special appeal to my listeners to document these things.
Yeah.
And
don't move, we're coming down.
we have another one there. The driver for 5966HK, remember that when you're on the road, if you're switching lanes, you're supposed to put on your indicator. So 5966HK. All right, so there you have it. So all listeners out there, they are watching you, they're taking pictures of you. So all the drivers out there, be very careful because we're watching what is happening. And persons are taking pictures. What used to happen before, just persons used to just post the pictures on social media. It gets lost. But we are working with them to get action. This person complained about unauthorized charges from PayPal on NCB Visa card. I told a person already that what they should do is write to the bank, and what you might have to do if the bank doesn't act, you might have to cancel that credit card and take out a new one, possibly go to another institution and take out a new credit card. Check for me also, and in the meantime, check for me if the bank allows you to restrict overseas transactions, because PayPal will be an overseas transaction. So some strange things are happening. And let me tell about your credit card and so on. Those of you who know me, especially those who go into the Washington Boulevard supermarket, will notice that I'm very annoyed when I'm by the cashier and persons come by me and start to pack on the things and check at the same time. I'm encouraging all supermarkets to tell their cashiers not to encourage that. Persons that have gadgets that can come near to you when you take out your credit card, they can capture the data. Plus, while they are there are small cameras that one can have, probably a pen, and they can take a picture of your credit card. They can see the pin that you are actually entering. So it is very unwise to have persons close to you when you do your transaction. So remember, I tell you, under no condition, if you do your transaction in the supermarket, you should not have another customer standing beside you. Don't do it at all. Same thing with the bank. When you go to the ABMs, you don't need no friend inside there. Go there alone and do your own business. And remember to organize with your institution so that when anything is done with your card or the money is withdrawn from your card, you'll get an email or a text message indicating that is so. Remember the fight that we have? Yes, I need your support to get those banks to put contact information. Thanks to Mr. Fitzjackson, who's going to support me on that one. But I need my listeners to support me, that the banks must allow you to put other contacts on your account so that if anything happens to you, you suffer from Alzheimer's or dementia, they can make contact with anybody who's on your account to find out where you are. And I have another long message. I can't go through it, but I mentioned it, and this has to do with the Bustamante Hospital for Children. It happened on Friday, the 5th of April, where apparently somebody visited the hospital and they had some challenges with a security person. I'm going to suggest that when you go to these places and you have a challenge, you should ask to speak to a supervisor or the person who's in charge of the area. And to all these places, let me tell you, unless you have trained the security guard, your security guard should not be there to carry out customer service work. It's what I don't know. The security guards are there basically for security. So when you want to, if you're going to want that security guard to be talking to your clients, then please, you have to train them, because many of them definitely don't know how to talk to your clients. So we can't have that. All right? And you know, should I know better than that? Then we're not going to university for, you understand? We don't do management for. Come on, man. Guys do better than that. All right, you're listening to Spot On with Vernon Darby, coming to you live from Kingston, Jamaica. And, of course, as I said to you before, this hour is sponsored by Spectrum Insurance Brokers, setting the industry standard, and Foswich Group of Companies, located at 77 to 79 Malines Road, ready in Kingston. Don't move.
Organic waste should not go into your bin. Start a compost with your organic waste in a cool or shaded area in your backyard. This waste management tip is brought to you by the NSWMA, One Jamaica. Make we clean up the place.
The Jamaica Anti-Doping Commission JADCO needs your help to eliminate doping and keep sport clean. If you have concerns about any doping activity, you can share the information with JADCO anonymously. The information you share will be treated with the highest level of confidentiality. Make the right call if you see something, say something. Protect clean sport. Protect our legacy. To report doping activity, call 888-429-5232 or visit the JADCO website at jadco.gov.jn. A message from the Jamaica Anti-Doping Commission.
Give a little something. US $1 JD 150 every time you receive a remittance from Lasco Money Transfer to sponsor a social project selected by the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. Say, I want to donate $1 to the cashier. Donations accepted at these locations: 38.5 Red Hills Road, Kingston 10, 15 Chandos Place, Poppin Square, Kingston 10, and Shop 203 Bay West Shopping Center, 3 St. James Street, Montego Bay.
Welcome back. You're listening to Spot On with Vernon Darby coming to you from Kingston, Jamaica. Of course, this hour is sponsored by Spectrum Insurance Brokers, setting the industry's standard, and the Fosrich Group of companies located at 77 to 79 Malines Road, right here in Kingston, Jamaica. Well, we should be having coming up shortly. Yes, is your health, your wealth, and the doctor is busy right there now. Probably is having an emergency, but hopefully we'll be able to talk to Dr. Leilene Johnson later on. But interestingly enough, we have this case which I started to look at. This person complained about at the Bustamante Hospital for Children. It says on Friday the 5th of April 2024, I visited the Bustamante Hospital for Children.
He's a better passer. Then how is be better? You see this thing where
along with my wife and son, because of some vomiting issues he was born with. Some major health complications. So about after 5 p.m. I took over from my wife that I should proceed. That I should proceed to feed him as he was hungry. While feeding him, I was approached by a female security officer from Modern Security who had no identification, that's usual nowadays, telling me that I am not allowed to feed my child inside. I have to go outside. I asked her if this isn't a hospital and will not be going outside to feed my child, and he feels very slow due to his health issues, so she walked away. While continuing to feed, I was approached by another female security officer from said Modern Security without identification, telling me that I will not be moving. All right, but I probably can read this one to when Dr. Lily Johnson comes on. And yes, I gather that he's on. So your health, your wealth, ready to roll. Dr. Lillian Johnson from the cool hills of Mandeville.
Hi, Vernon. How are you?
Great to have you, my friend. And it's interesting that we have some listeners. We're glad to have Dr. Lillian Johnson. And I must tell you, of course I know Dr. Lillian Johnson, very caring doctor. And Dr. Lillian Johnson, I must tell you, although you're a doctor, every doctor caring and understanding, let me tell you, have patience. And he's a very caring person, always thinking of people. And that is very important. If you go to a doctor is not caring, willing to explain to you, find somebody else. I got this report, and you don't have to comment on it. Well, you can if you want. You can if you know what the procedures are and why this isn't allowed. But let me just quickly read it. On Friday the 5th of April 2024, I visited the Bustamante Hospital for Children along with my wife. I'm hearing a funny sound there. Let me start again. I don't know which side it's coming from. Probably coming, yes, and it's kind of distracting me in the background. All right, let me go again. On Friday the 5th of April 2024, I visited the Bustamante Hospital for Children along with my wife and son because of some vomiting issues he was born with. Some major health complications. So about 5 p.m., I took over from my wife as only one parent per child is allowed inside the instruction from my wife that I should proceed to feed him as he was hungry. Whilst feeding him, I was approached by a female security officer from Modern Security who had no identification, telling me that I'm not allowed to feed my child inside. I have to go outside. I asked her if this isn't a hospital and will not be going outside to feed my child. And he feeds very slow due to his health issues. So she walked away. So while continuing to feed, I was approached by another female security officer from said Modern Security without identification, telling me that I will not be moving. Apparently saying that I will not be moving as this is not a private office but a public hospital. So I asked her if they are going to throw me out as I'm not moving. It's not like I was feeding him cooked food or biscuit or so on. I was giving him bottle feeding. As a matter of fact, there was one nurse in white, another in blue, which is from Northern Caribbean University, sitting on the front desk, at the front desk, who just stood there looking and said nothing. I find it very disrespectful to be telling a parent to take their sick child outside to feed them. There's no one there for you to say anything to. Now, I guess I can't comment on the administrative aspect, but Doc, can you comment in terms of why you would not want a child to be fed in a particular area of the hospital?
Um, it's it, I'm trying to figure out what the policy is and the rationale is there. I mean, as a, I mean, in a waiting area, you do really do not want persons to be eating because, of the possibility of contamination of the food because the sick area, persons, can cough and particles fall on the food. So I think it's for the safety of the individual or individuals who make care of food in there because they may not come in with a contagious disease and that may act as a source. But you said that it wasn't a case where it was cooked food where the food was actually open.
Yes, yes.
And the baby was bottle fed. Again, I'm not certain what the policy is for Bustamante Hospital for Children.
I was just thinking in terms of health reasons. If you
well, definitely, I can see why it is that it would be advisable for someone to be eating in a busy area where there's a congregation of sick people.
Because you might cough and things and
yes, it's right. It's unhygienic and people tend to accidents do happen. Sometimes people vomit, people cough. Sometimes blood is spilled, and you may some of those contaminants may end up in the food.
You know what crossed my mind? Probably they would have a problem with the bottle feeding, but if they allow that everybody would want to feed, one, for example, roaches and so on to come into that area. So that just crossed my mind a while ago.
Well, the bottle feeding shouldn't be a problem. Well, I wouldn't shouldn't be a problem, but if it's in the open, I mean, you have attendants there to clean up afterwards.
Oh, yes, that's another thing to probably in the past. Person have ate there and dropped things on the floor. Oh, yes.
Right.
But you know what I would say to this person, though, if you go to a hospital and you have been given instruction, follow the instruction. What you can do, you can, just like you have written to me, but do it after. Don't get into a confrontation with the staff members. You have to understand that they run the hospital and they make the laws and the rules. The laws might be stupid, but the way to deal with it is to write a report and make contact with me, for example. Don't go there and take the bar. Because can you imagine, if everybody has their own ideas to how a hospital should be operated or any institution, then everybody go there and argue with every staff member. You can't have that.
I think I honestly think it's there to protect the individuals there, because really and truly, I mean, I think it is very unhygienic to really eat in a public space where you have a congregation or a concentration of sick folks.
The young people laugh at you, but the young people just walk on the road and just eat and just throw them paper on the road like that.
Well, I mean, that's the law of the street if they want to do what they want to do. But I mean, in a controlled area like that, and especially because of the kinds of cases that are coming in, that you can control, right? But I mean, I think, as I said, I think it's there to protect the individuals there. Right. I don't think it's to discriminate or to prevent anybody.
And my position, don't take on the administration. But then again, the security should have a name tag. And staff members, we do not want to wear name tags because we don't want to be held accountable. So I think all your staff, your nurses, everybody, doctors, you should have your name tags of your name, Dr. Johnson, so we can know who you are. It's good. I'm going to a doctor and nurse. I don't know who the doctor is and I don't know who the nurse is. No, man, that makes sense at all. I'll tell you what, we only have a few minutes left before we go for the break, but I guess I'll take up your time. But we have these questions coming sometimes, so I just
no problem.
So we only have about 3 minutes. So any comments you want to make generally before we go for the break? I'll come back to you.
Vernon, the thing is, there's an importance of rules and instructions. It may sound silly or it may sound that it may be irrelevant at the time, but for certain institutions, whenever certain stipulations are made, it's done for a reason. Because persons normally would have to do some background information
Yeah.
and studies before they put that in pen and paper, put that into convert it from pen to paper, and then put it out there as a law for that particular region. So it is a broader what I would call it now. It is really for more than just the hospital. It's for the general public.
Yes, and
Whenever
institution
we
you
have
have rules.
these
Yes.
instructions and we have rules, it's there for a purpose.
But
We
Dr.
need-
Justice, you should know that we don't like regulations. We don't like rules and regulations. And we don't like anybody who stand for order. So that's a problem that we have.
I know, but the funny thing in Vernon is that if we go to a foreign country, we tend to comply now.
We don't have a choice.
We don't have a choice.
But guess what? You will hear a man say, boy, we don't want to go heaven. Mr. Boss, why you don't want to go heaven? He said, boy, God have too much law and order up there, so man. I want to go to hell. Well, I will say to you, all right, go to hell and see if you can do what you want to do down there.
Exactly.
All right, you're listening to Spoton coming to you live from Kingston, Jamaica. This is your friend Vernon Darby with the People's Doctor here with me, Dr. Leland Johnson. So come back. Don't move.
So refreshing. What's so refreshing, Sonia? The water is refreshing. Try it now. Where you get that from? Not clean manufacturing water. So refreshing. Me like it. Clean water. Located at 20 Syndham Commercial, Old Harbour, Spanish Town, St. Catherine. Telephone number 876-335-0448 or 876-648-7192. Or email cleanconcept@gmail.com.
Importers. Shipments requiring you to pay customs duties and taxes are cleared on a customs goods declaration known as an IM4 or IMS4. Ask your clearing agent to provide your customs declaration, customs assessment notice, and customs receipt once duties and taxes are paid. Where your clearing agent may not be able to provide the IM4 or IMS4, request your customs goods declaration registration number or C number, which can be used to verify your payments. Importers, request your IM4, IMS4, or C number. It is your right. For details, email the Jamaica Customs Agency at public.relations@jca.gov.jm. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Welcome back. You're listening to Spot On with Vernon Darby. It's your health, your wealth. And my very special guest is Dr. Leland Johnson, the People's Doctor from the cool hills of Mandeville in Manchester, right here in Jamaica. Back to you, my brother.
Yes, Vernon. Good morning to you and staff. And
yes, my brother.
Here is no Omega. And to your listening audience. Now, Vernon, I know the time is short, and as far as spent, I would want us to focus a little bit today on endometriosis. I mean, last month was endometriosis. Now, why endometriosis? But we're going to talk a little bit now. Now, endometriosis is a chronic disease, or is a disease where you have tissue that's similar to the lining of the uterus.
Yes.
It's found outside of the uterus itself.
Hold on, we have to understand. The uterus where the baby is formed?
Right. So you have tissues that inside that normally sheds off, that thickens and then sheds in the form of menses. But what is happening?
Yeah,
now,
so every month now, so the uterus there and that
right.
every month. That's why they say the lady have do their thing every month.
Yeah, it's a period. It's a cycle.
It's a cycle.
Right.
I see.
Right. But the strange thing about it, Vernon, is that instead of those tissues that should be leaving the body and be confined only in the uterus, actually outside of the uterus.
Outside of the uterus?
Right.
Like where, for example, that just seems impossible.
All right. You have some tubes attached to the
Yes.
that direct communication or with the ovaries,
Mm-hmm.
the fallopian tube. So it can attach itself there. You can find some of them there. It can even you can find it on
And
the
the fallopian tube, that's a tube which goes from the ovaries where the egg comes down, yes,
right.
into the
The
womb.
travel
Yes.
right. So that is the conduit through which the egg
Mm.
is traveled
Right.
through to reach the uterus itself. And then now it can be found even on the ovaries, and it can be formed literally outside of the uterus itself, within the pelvic floor, and in some cases it's attached to the bladder and even to the abdominal wall itself.
So hold on,
So
let me ask you something. If that tissue, if it's attached somewhere else, and when it's in the womb, the uterus, it behaves a particular way when, there's no pregnancy. Would the tissue behave like that if it is somewhere else same way?
Interestingly, that is where some ladies do find nagging pain, especially round about the time when they're
Yes.
experiencing their menses, because it is thought that this same tissue here,
Yes.
because it's coming from the uterus, it is sensitive to changes in the female hormones during the cycle. So the hormones that's responsible for increasing the size, such as estrogen, during that period, there is an intense amount of pain on that organ. So so if it is that is shed around the bladder, around about the time when you're supposed to be having your menses,
Yes.
you have some women who complain of intense, unusual pain in the lower abdomen, and it's round up, and it's pains even more when they're passing their urine.
Okay.
It's a very strange disease, and the funny thing about it, Vernon, it tends to affect women during their reproductive years, and it affects about 10% of that population.
That's quite a bit. So
Yes,
let me ask you though, if it is somewhere else, would you have the kind of bleeding taking place that you'd have in the uterus? Because my understanding that is where you'd find that.
Vernon, it in some ways it
Yes.
does, because it can actually increase in size, and probably some amount of shedding of blood may occur.
Yes.
All right, so it is very possible that may happen, but the most insignificant finding is really pain, intense amount of pain.
So hold on, that is why, you see that now? That is why some ladies know I was going to use that term now, but I realize I'm getting myself into trouble. I was going to say pediatric. They'll bawl for pain and so on.
Yes.
And then some people just say, how I do it? Every month she's sick. I don't want to have the same problem too, but what you're telling me that some women have a particular problem, you call it endometriosis.
Endometriosis.
Oh, no, big word. Endometriosis. So that's why some ladies I see they're in plenty pain at the end of the month. Man, they say, when you don't know these things that can happen too, no?
Exactly.
If you understand the woman, them.
But it's not only that, Vernon.
Yes.
Because of where these cells are abnormally attached to,
Yes.
it may provoke particular pain. For example, you may find it within the vaginal vault itself.
Oh, okay.
And so during intercourse, it causes significant pain as well, and it actually does interrupt your sexual activity. And for some
Hold on there, this and that. So you are telling me that? Man, this is unbelievable. Hey, man out there, open and listen. So you are telling me this woman has a problem. What are something if she don't even know that she has a problem? Endometriosis. And you tell me, say, in the mood, and the man come in and vex and give you 2 boxes, a man you're there with.
Exactly. Exactly, Vernon. So, it is very important, not only for women to understand that
Yes.
these things are happening, it's for the partners to be aware of some of these challenges that these women have. And remember, as we said, it affects 10% of the population female population within the reproductive years. So, knowledge is very, very important.
But I will tell you something, Doc, remember when I was having my first child, I never saw a human being on picture. So I wanted to be there. I wanted to assist. And I was telling you some hospital staff were quite reluctant and what have you until they can't find they're supposed to put on some gown.
Right.
And then they have decided something not gonna find it. I now feel very strongly that when women go when a woman goes to gynecologist or those persons, the boyfriend and the husband and you should go too and go so and listen and learn, because if you understand what is happening to your woman, then you can understand her better and deal with her.
Exactly.
So gynecologists out there, man, begging you. Next time the lady come, she'll have to invite her boyfriend and husband to come sit in to make him come learn something. I hope I say anything wrong, Doc. Tell me,
No, I agree with you 100% because, as I said, many persons are unaware of these kinds of changes. Most persons just, associate any abnormality, the regular abnormal function of uterus, like fibroids.
Fibroids, yes.
But not understanding that there are other issues.
Endometriosis. But what would happen to you that would cause you to want to go to see the gynecologist or a doctor because you suspect that you're having this problem called endometriosis?
Okay. All right. There are a number of signs and symptoms that's associated with it. The most complaint, the number one complaint is pain.
Pain, yes.
And it's a pain that is skyrocketing. It's through the roof. And it tends to last longer than normal period pain.
And where do you feel that pain?
When it can be any time around your menses.
But where? Where in your body?
Mainly in the lower pelvic. Right. Let me be specific. Just below the navel, between the bone, below the there's what we call the pubic bone.
Right.
And between the pubic bone and the navel. Once you have pain in that area, within that area, we call it the lower pelvic pain.
Right, but at what age? Because can that problem is it
it can start in teenagers to Vernon. Because there are some cases where up to 13, 14-year-olds have been diagnosed with endometriosis.
Really? Can you imagine that poor child don't know what is happening?
Exactly. Right? So, this is very debilitating. First, there was initially we thought that it only affected older women. I wouldn't say older women, it was more mature women in their 20s, but more studies are coming in that shows that it dates back even earlier than their 20s.
Is there anything that can be done to ease the pain?
Unfortunately, Vernon, there's no known cure. Research is still ongoing to come up with a cure. However, the practice now is to manage the symptoms, and most of these include the management of pain. And immediately, the first thing would normally recommend is some good painkillers, especially non-inflammatory steroid.
Is it hereditary, by the way? Is it hereditary?
The thing is, Vernon, no one knows exactly how it is formed. There is an association with persons with similar family medical history, especially first-degree family members. For example, your mother or your sister. These two tend to correlate, but it's still not fully understood if it's across the board. But there are some correlations with first degree relatives, as I just mentioned.
That no. My brain too creative. I mean, I know about medicine, but praise the Lord, I listen to people like you and others. But sometimes you never hear them say like knowledge is dangerous. My thinking now, because you talked about the women reproductive organs. So if they have that problem now, you just remove one of them and the problem solved. It's solved.
To be honest with you, that used to be one of the methods. But you have to be careful, because if it is that person wants to have children, you can have serious implications for that as well.
Yes.
And one thing I must mention too, in about half of that 10%, it affects fertility. So if you have 10% of that population being affected, half of those 10%
Yes.
tend not to be able to have children.
And, oh no, Doc, I just realized I wasn't so smart as I thought I was. If it appears surveys on the body, remove reproductive organs, then you still have a problem. Am I correct?
Yes, you're still going to have a problem, especially if it is that you're going to do it before they reach the menopause age. Because if it is that you're going to remove the uterus along with the ovaries, you're going to be inducing menopause at an earlier age. And, you know, you're going to be having all of those complaints, the hot flashes, the irritability.
But if you induce menopause, it means therefore hopefully you should, when you reach past menopause, you don't have the endometriosis problem continuing.
No, normally you do not. You do not. Normally you do not. But for some folks, the pain is so intense that you have some persons who opt for removal. But that is really a last option.
Last option.
In
Doc,
most cases.
time has slipped by. Just remind us how we can find you in the cool hills of Manchester, Dr. Leland Johnson.
Okay, thank you, Vernon. I can be contacted at telephone numbers 589-0608-791-1090. The location is at the Consolidated Health Service, right there at 14 Caledonia Road, Mandeville.
Right, I sent you a message. Well, I sent you quite a few. Like you're too busy, just check your messages.
Okay,
All right, take care. Dr. Leland Johnson, the people's doctor, right here, the cook of the cool hills of Mandeville. You're listening to Spot On with Vernon Darby. We're going to go for the break. When we come back, it will be Consumer Talk, which is sponsored by the National Solid Waste Management Authority. Jamaica's beauty is our duty.
Three Angels Pharmacy, the premier provider of quality pharmaceutical care, opens every day except Saturday. Located at shop number 7, 7B Caledonia Road, Mandeville, call 625-5584.
The temperature by Three Angels Pharmacy is
30 degrees Celsius in New Kingston.
Your taxes hold.
Property owners, let's get digital. Property taxes for 2024-25 are due April 1. Payments can be made by April 30 in full, half-yearly or quarterly installments. Pay using these options online at jamaicatax.gov.jm, the TAJ mobile app, the mobile tax collection unit, NCB online banking, and Scotia online and mobile app. Call 888-TAX-HELP. That's 888-429-4357 or visit jamaicatax.gov.jm for details.
There's a new gym on the block. Listen up, Portmore. Express Fitness is coming to the Big Buy Plaza. Get ready to sweat at our brand new location. And here's the best part. To celebrate, we're offering an unbeatable deal of only $1,000 for the first month. That's right. For only $1,000, you'll have access to state-of-the-art equipment and a community that's all about reaching your fitness goals. Don't miss out on this exclusive offer. Head down to Express Fitness at Big Buy Plaza in Portmore, where your journey to a better you begins.
And even at his yeah, because Kobe has his way take 20 at shot. You know what about defensive and all this. Let me see more all defensive than Kobe Bryant. Because Kobe Bryant is a very excellent defender. Let me ask this last question. Let me ask you this last question. Who's a better defender? Jordan or LeBron?
For financial news and the latest developments in the business community and economy, Financially Speaking is the top choice. Join me, your host Errol Gregory, Mondays and Wednesdays at 12:30 p.m. as we look at current economic issues, provide small business tips, and help you to build your business and portfolio. That's Financially Speaking, sponsored by Jamaica Stock Exchange, JSC Online Trading.
This is your television and radio preacher, Bishop Dr. J.J. Cooper, asking you to join me every Sunday at 6 p.m. for revival time. Enjoy 60 minutes of old-fashioned, Holy Ghost anointed, yoke-destroying, burden removing, praise, celebration.
We're coming back right now.
The Scoreboard, Mondays to Fridays, one of the best sports programs on radio.
The Scoreboard features informative, investigative, and hard-hitting sports discussions with top-quality guests. Join us 5 to 6 p.m. with our A-list hosts as we inform and entertain. That's The Scoreboard, Mondays to Fridays, 5 to 6 p.m.
So the time is now 2.
Sheena Power Talk, make you start to walk.
Get your aunties, get your uncles, get your brothers and your sisters, gather the girls, gather the boys. Sheena Lynn Hansen is on your radio with Power Talk, motivation, inspiration, and empowerment. Tune in every Tuesday at 11:15 a.m. It's a Power Talk and a Power Connection. Power up your spirit, man, with Power Talk. This is your Damascus Road encounter. Come and experience a mighty move of God right here on Power Talk.
Sheena Power Talk.
Welcome back here, listening to Spoton with Vernon Darby, and coming up right now is Consumer Talk, which is sponsored. Yes, Consumer Talk is sponsored by the National Solid Waste Management Authority. Jamaica's beauty is our duty. And of course, as usual, I have with us a man called Mr. Trevor Summers. So, Trevor, how you doing?
I'm all right, sir. Pretty good, pretty good.
What's on your mind?
Well, first and foremost, I have to inform the country and the world that the National Consumers League this month celebrates its 58th year of existence. 58.
How old is that?
Quite a bit. That started in 66. But one of the problems that we're going to face now is that we are in the very dry season of the year, and we haven't seen much sign of rain as it is yet.
And July not yet?
Well, July don't come yet, but we expect the rain. You usually have April showers, what they say, April showers bring May flowers, I suppose. But it's going to affect vegetables. I heard the chairman of the JAS saying that from yesterday, as a matter of fact, that we might have to be paying a little bit more for veggies because, the veggies need water.
Right.
And we have the drought, which is going to affect the planting season, planting time for vegetables. And it's also going to affect the price because it's going to be a shortage. So
but
therefore,
I don't understand you. There's water underground. My understanding from Mr. I can't remember his name, was there before from the Water Resources Authority, I think. I think his name was Hernandez.
Hernandez, yes.
Is that we're not harnessing the water effectively.
One of the problem is, though, that you over-harness the water from there, especially down on the St. Catherine Plains. You're likely to start picking up salt.
Oh, yes, yes.
Saline, because I was out there in the days when the cane fields used to be there, and there are some wells that they had to rest for a while because, it became salty.
Yes.
But let us hope, that we'll get water there, but it's not cheap to bring it up, to distribute it. But let us hope that as the years pass, we'll get better and better because this climate change business is not going to go away.
Oh, no.
And I know that the people who have to buy water from the trucks, it is very expensive because I was up in Manchester over the weekend, and the water trucks are pretty busy, and I know it's a costly venture.
And we have been getting complaints from, I think, Negril site.
Well, I can't believe that Westmoreland is gone as a dry parish.
Yes.
Because Westmoreland parish is usually one of the wettest parishes that we have. But you see how climate change has really affected us, because even Portland, when I was small, there was not a day rain used to come out of the blue sky in Portland. And I don't know what has gone. Well, they say climate change. But nowadays, all these two parishes, which are the opposite ends of Jamaica, they now suffer from a drought problem. And they probably are not as prepared as Manchesterians, because Manchesterians are always, in terms of Manchesterians in town, they always have their tanks ready for water, because they have, always have a problem with water, especially up on the hills. It's not easy to get water up on the hills. Because Manchester, they said, we have no rivers, but that's not quite true, but we'll debate at another time. But some of the people, what they need to do is to prepare themselves for the drought. Because some of them know that the tanks are leaking and they had the dry season, but they should have been preparing to, to stop it up, stop up the leaks and so forth. But many of them didn't. Just like they have the 5 wise men and the 5 wise virgins and the 10 virgins.
Five wise, 5 fools.
They can't tell you. So therefore, they should have done that before, so that when the rain starts, they can get some water. Because water is expensive and it's going to put the cost up. Vegetables, especially carrots and leafy vegetables, they need a lot of water. And it's going to affect our food security, the drought, the climate change and all that, because over the world, they said that even Guyana was short of rice this year. And the consumers, every time
we are thinking of going back into the rice business.
We need to go back. We used to have rice, not sufficient for everything, but at least it was a good amount that we didn't have to import everything. And nowadays, when you go to a restaurant to buy food, all they do is pack your plated rice. You hardly get anything else. And what happened to the local food, locally grown foods that we have otherwise, the yams and the potatoes and the sweet potatoes and
export them.
Well, I don't think we export everything, but we're not producing just enough for, giving some. So therefore, when you go to the restaurants, you get a little bit of vegetables and you have a plate full of rice.
You're lucky if you get vegetables.
You're lucky if you get any vegetables. And remember, we have a war looming on the horizon. We don't know what is going to happen yet.
A war? We
have wars, yes.
Yeah.
And, judging from our past experience, talk to the people who lived through the 40s in World War II, they can tell you what used to happen. And don't put it off again. It could well happen. And now, those days, Jamaica was more self-sufficient in food.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Now, we import everything.
You have Ukraine still going on.
Ukraine is going to get worse because, if the Middle East gets extended war, it's going to mean that America is going to be involved. This is just my sermon. This is just my prediction.
You have Israel there.
Yes, Israel. America is not going to allow Israel to stand by itself, and to be destroyed.
And then close to us here too, we have Guyana.
We have Guyana, Venezuela and Guyana. So
and then we having challenges in Haiti.
We have challenges in Haiti. We have challenges all around. So therefore, people who have them bananas and so forth, try and get them pruned up and so forth. So when the rain starts falling, they can be more productive. And if you can plant a couple roots.
And by the way, it's a new variety I think we have out here now, the Fia thing, 17.
Well, it's not brand new, but it's a banana that grows very well and it gives you very large bunches. It's not for ripening though. It's not for ripening. Yes. It is more for chips and for cooking. And it cooks very quickly and it's easy to peel. I have a root or two at home.
Yes. Really? Yes. It's easy to peel.
It's easy to peel and you get very, very large bunches. So therefore, for food, for peeling and for chips making.
And time has gone. Just make any final point you want to make.
Yes, and remember, people, lobsters, fishermen, please be careful. Don't bother catching the lobster now because you can get yourself in serious trouble. The lobster season is not on at this moment. So therefore, if you catch lobster, throw them back. And
throw what the dead one then.
Parrotfish too should not be caught either.
Right, I have to go now. Thank you very much, Trevor Summers. And of course, that was Consumer Talk, which is sponsored by the National Solid Waste Management Authority. Jamaica's beauty is our duty. All right, so that is the Consumer Talk is sponsored by the National Solid Waste Management Authority. Jamaica's beauty is our duty. All right, so time is slipping by. Let's take a look at the weather. Yes, there's a ridge across Jamaica. The ridge is expected to remain across the island over the next few days. Additionally, expect windy conditions, especially across coastal areas, to persist due to the presence of a low-level jet stream across the central Caribbean. 24-hour forecast this morning, partly cloudy across eastern parishes, mainly sunny elsewhere. This afternoon, isolated showers across hilly areas and western parishes. Otherwise, partly cloudy and windy. Tonight, partly cloudy, windy along coastal areas. And let's take now a look at those persons who are celebrating their birthday today. Yes, we have Minister, the Honorable Juliet Cuthbert. Yeah, Olympian and all. You have a wonderful day, my friend. Also, Vernon Mollison. Yes, I think Vernon, he went to Knoxville, I think, too, yeah. He's celebrating his birthday today. And Carleen Murdoch. I have to get through to you. Fantastic woman. She was in charge of the AGD, that's the Accountant General. I did a fantastic job. She's now retired. You have a wonderful day, my friend. So that's Juliet Cuthbert, Vernon Mollison, and Carleen Murdoch. And Georgia is celebrating its independence today. And of course, I want to leave my listeners with this one. We blame the guns for killing of persons in Jamaica. If you really believe that it's the guns which are killing people, then we should issue warrants for the arrests of all guns. Vernon Darby saying to you, thank you very much, Mr. Hoyt, Pastor Boyne, my listeners, guests, and everybody. Vernon Darby saying to you, have a wonderful day. Walk good.
This is KLAS FM, the station where you get God and sports. We broadcast on the 89 frequencies on your FM band and online at OmegaKLAS.com. Please continue to be blessed and enlightened. Gospel and sports sensible.
So as it gets settled once again.
Blessings. Have you been blessed by the Real Talk Show with Bishop Manning? Well, you can listen to the Real Talk Show Mondays to Fridays, 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. on the Omega Radio app. Just go to your app store and look for Omega Radio, or listen live on the Omega Church Broadcasting Network website. That's www.omegachurchradio.com. You can also watch on Facebook at Omega Church. On YouTube, you can watch the live church service at Omega Church or Omega Radio. You can also call us at 876-319-1148 or 876-613-9129. The toll-free number is 877-494-0253. That was a paid advertisement by Omega Radio.
This is your television and radio preacher, Bishop Dr. G.G. Cooper, asking you to join me every Sunday at 6 p.m. for revival time. Enjoy 60 minutes of old-fashioned, Holy Ghost anointed, yoke-destroying, burden-removing, praise, celebration.
What's up, Sports Desk Massive? It's the new and improved way